Hey Pop Tarts, it is the end of September. This is the very last Self-Love September resource for 2018. Thank you very much for going on this journey with me. I thought we'd end things on a high, talking about pursuing your dreams, which is obviously a very self-loving thing to do. It's a lot of the conversations I have with clients, to be honest. A lot of the work that I do is around helping people to get out of their own way, helping people to grant themselves the permission to go after what they really want, and then the nuts and bolts of that process, the strategy for it, what it's actually going to look like, etc. And there are a lot of problems that people have with this and a lot of hang-ups people have. So I wanted to end Self-Love September for this year by imparting some tips and suggestions for you. If you feel like you're struggling currently to pursue your dreams, you really want to, but you are in your own way or something is in your way, I hope that some of these tips hit where they need to and resonate where they need to. Very first thing I want to say is something I've said on the channel before. It's something that can always stand to be stressed again. It's something I've really had to remember in my own life, and it's something I've talked through with clients and audience members in the past. And that is that you have got to give yourself permission to change up what your dreams and your goals actually are. We shift as we go through life. We do not always stick to the same goals. We do not always look at the future and build it in our head the same way and think, yeah, that looks like what we want to be moving towards. That looks like the thing that we're planning for. That looks like the thing that is really going to give us joy. We change. And the experiences that we go through change us. We experience long, drawn-out, painful processes that take a massive toll on us and help us to understand what our priorities are in a completely different light. You know, the cells in our body literally change, guys. So we become different people. So it's really important that we do not pressure ourselves to continue to pursue the dream that we put behind a velvet rope years ago. The dream that we announced to everybody and we said, that's what I want to pursue, that's the thing for me. Don't force yourself to continue to pursue that if it is really not doing it for you anymore, if it's not making you excited anymore, if it's not really relevant to where you are in your life anymore. Feel absolutely and completely free to choose something different. Feel absolutely and completely free to reassess the original decisions that you made about the goals you're trying to pursue, the things that you're trying to make happen. And if you want things to be different, if you want to manifest different things, don't be afraid to drop that dream and pick up the dream that feels fizzy for now, for where you are in your life at the present moment. Make sure you are pursuing the dreams and the goals that you want for yourself as well, not the dreams and goals that other people think would be best for you. That kind of pattern of going after what other people think would be best for you or what impresses other people, you know, like keeping up with the Joneses or doing what your parents think is the right thing or what society thinks is the right thing, that can trap a lot of people for a very long time. That's a very sticky trap. It's definitely possible to get your way out of it, but it takes commitment. It takes for you to be really honest with yourself and really brave and daring enough to turn around and say, I don't want that for myself. I understand why you think it's the best thing, maybe the most financially stable thing, maybe you feel like it's the most impressive direction, but I don't want that. It's not what I actually want. You have to be brave enough to voice what it is that you actually want, and you have to be brave enough to own what it is that you want to pursue, even if it might not be universally understood. Or it might not be appreciated by family or by your partner or whatever the case may be. You've got to be strong enough to say, well, it's what I want, it's what flicks my switch. When I imagine it, it makes my blood fizzy, and that's all that matters. It's my life, it's not your life, it's mine, and I have to go after what feels right for me. Don't make the mistake of thinking that you want somebody else's life or you want to follow somebody else's dream because it looks like they're having a great time with it. Make sure that it's something that switches you on, that makes you feel excited. Way too many people in this celebrity saturated, celebrity obsessed and wealth obsessed culture are looking at somebody that appears to have a very lofty kind of lifestyle or appears on the surface to have a lifestyle that is nigh on perfect, with no creases to iron out, nothing that needs to be solved, no issues, right? And that's because that's the way they sell their life to you. That's the way social media and celebrity culture kind of work. Too many people are looking at those things and thinking, that's what I want, that's what I desire. It might not even necessarily be a celebrity or a YouTube personality or somebody with money or status or wealth. It might be somebody that has a very spiritual, very minimalistic lifestyle, and maybe you think that you covet that lifestyle, but actually when it comes down to the wire, that's not necessarily who you are. There's any number of different things that somebody else is pursuing or somebody else has managed to achieve or somebody else feels is making them happy, that when you look at them from an outside perspective, narrative, you have this imagining of what that's like, and you tell yourself that you want it for yourself. But it's very important to check in, because sometimes we find ourselves pursuing a dream that was actually somebody else's and doesn't have a lot to do with what it would require to make us feel happy and excited about life. Also, don't forget, and I feel like a lot of people do forget this, but don't forget, if you can possibly help it, that you can be both pursuing a dream for the future and also content with where you are in the present. And that's something that I feel like people are very all or nothing about. You know, you come across these conversations online where people are talking about what they want to achieve, what they want to manifest, what their next big goal is. And somebody will always come along and be like, it's just about being happy in the present, and it's just about, you know, just the next right action and just being happy with who you are right now. And, you know, future tripping and obsessing over what's going to happen in the future can never be a healthy state of being. And I think to myself, yeah, but I'm pretty content with where things are right now, but there's nothing wrong with also having something to aim for. There's nothing wrong with also having something to challenge me and excite me. We can have both things. Both things can peacefully coexist. Believe me, they can peacefully coexist. If you don't have any big dreams right now, if you're not really sure what your goals are, if you're not sure where you actually want to ultimately be headed, or you don't have a 5-year plan or even a 1-year plan, that's fine. You can have a goal that is geared around how you would like to spend a day. What kinds of things would need to be included in a day to make it a day that you can be proud of having lived? What kinds of things would you like to feature in your day so that when your head hits the pillow at night time, you can think, I'm really glad I got those things done? Is it interaction with people you love? Is it having more downtime? Is it having more time to read? Is it making sure you're out in nature more, getting some fresh air? What kinds of things would you like to include in the day to make it into a dreamy day? A day that is more closely aligned with how you want your life to feel overall. It can really be about chopping it down that finely into bite-sized, manageable, day-sized chunks. You don't always need to have a lofty goal. You don't always need to be working towards something massive. You can really be thinking about what the next right action is, or what kind of day would feel good for you at the end of it, and then just focus on living that kind of day, you know, featuring those kinds of things into the day that are going to make it feel worthwhile for you at the end. You can decide what kinds of energies, what kinds of intentions, what kinds of emotions you want to bring into your day, and that can be what you're focusing on. And you're just focusing on having as many of those days strung together as possible, so that you can look back on the week or the month or the year and think, yeah, I really included the things that I wanted to include there. And you will find that so much positivity comes from that, and you achieve so many things that you didn't even know you wanted to achieve. You didn't even know that that was a goal, but because of those small steps that you put in place to make every single day worthwhile, you have managed to move towards those goals, or those lofty dreams have come into your line of sight, and you've actually boldly headed towards them, because the way that you're living your life day by day is aligned with the highest version of yourself. Do yourself a massive favor and do not focus on what other people have got that you don't have. Try not to stew and wallow in the fact that somebody to the left of you or the right of you had more resources, more wealth, more support. There's always going to be somebody who had a straighter, easier, flatter road than you, and you're always going to be very good at really inflating and amplifying the extent to which their road was so much easier than yours. It's a reason to stay stuck in your own situation, rather than just accepting that everybody comes to their sense of what they want in their own time, and everybody comes into their power in their own time. Everybody has different circumstances. Everybody has struggles that you don't know about, just as you have struggles other people don't know about. And it's important that you recognize that your journey towards whatever it is that you are heading for, that you want, is your journey. It's got nothing to do with anyone else. Try not to wallow in the comparison. Don't let yourself get trapped into resenting other people for that. Certainly don't let yourself get trapped into this idea that because you didn't have those things to your advantage, there's no point in trying, there's no point in striving. That is bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. If you feel like the underdog, rock that underdog archetype. Take it all the way to the fucking bank. Enjoy it. Revel in it. Show yourself that despite your challenges, and maybe even because of them, you're going to get where you want to go. You're going to manifest the life that you desire. There are a lot of people standing at the side of the road, not making any progress towards their own dream, and when somebody comes along in a chariot, they just point fingers and say, you know what, his dad bought in that chariot. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe his dad bought in that chariot. Is that judgment of that person getting you any closer to where you need to be though? Is that feeling of vitriol towards that person who has an easy ride in some way actually getting you to Damascus? Because if it's not, then you really need to get off of that trip, because it's an energy drain. Of course, it's absolutely true that some people have more luck, some people have more funds, some people have more privilege naturally, socially than others. Like, all of those things are absolutely 100% true, and I'm definitely not one to say that we should overlook those things. I am, however, one to say that we can get stuck on those things when we are scared of taking action to move towards our own dreams. It's something that I've done, it's something I know a lot of people do. Whatever the situation, whatever the circumstances, if you know you're doing that, definitely love yourself enough to stop doing that. Recognize that you are doing that and choose better for yourself. Try not to get caught up in regretting the roads that you didn't take, the decisions that you didn't make, the time that you'd wasted. Obviously, you want to be realistic about the fact that when you look at your past, you feel like there's time usage there that could have been better. But what you don't want to do is get stuck there. There's this Chinese proverb that I absolutely fucking love. I'm sure I've quoted it on the channel before, and I know I've said it to a fair few clients. And the proverb goes like this: the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Yes! Yes! That proverb is fucking everything. Yes, absolutely, have your moment, have your sadness, feel your regret that you didn't plant that tree 20 years ago, 100%. You want to be realistic about it. You wish you planted that tree as quickly as you possibly can. Get the shovel, get the seed, and plant the tree now. Get it done now, get it done today. Don't let your regret about the way that you spent your days in the past count against you when it comes to the actions you could take right now. If you are waiting for your fear to subside before you take action to realise your dreams, you are going to be waiting a very, 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 very long time. I don't even need a watch on my wrist to tell you that that's true. That is just a fact. Fear is very often a symbol that your dream means something to you. It matters to you. That fear is not a mistake. That fear is not something that is an inconvenient thing that you need to wait until it dissipates before you take some action. You have to take action despite your fear, and that's part of the whole process. So if you're waiting for your fear to simmer down before you take some action, you might want to know that your fear is going to be there with you when you leap off the edge and when you launch and when you actually start to fly towards that dream, because that's part of the whole process of taking that leap of faith, leaving the comfort zone, etc. So it's more helpful to think of your fear as some kind of a vital component. It's a vital ingredient. And yeah, it might feel like a massive, massive monster that you do need to get under control, but it's about the difference between managing your fear and then telling yourself that you need to wait for it to leave, because it's probably not going to leave. If your dream is big and fizzy and it means something to you, then your fear is going to accompany you as you make your way towards it, because that's kind of part of the deal. You will find that there are times where the fear has subsided or it's not there, and then there's times where it will return. It's a bit of a tidal feeling, but don't tell yourself that you've got to wait for that tide to go out forever and never come back in, because that is a waster's dream ticket. You're never going to get started if you're waiting for that to happen. Sometimes if you don't know what to do, then just do anything. Take any kind of action, whether it's getting up and taking a walk around the block, whether it's just starting to reorganize something, whether it's your wardrobe or something in your living space. Maybe you want to pick up the phone and make a phone call and just have a talk with somebody about it. Maybe you want to just get up, stop what you're doing, go and have a shower, have a bite to eat. Anything that can shift your perspective, anything that can change the way that you're seeing something. If you're stuck, if you feel uncertain, if you feel like you're going around in circles and you're not getting any closer towards your dream, sometimes it's about changing up your energy, changing up the view that you have in front of you, and that can provide you with a great big portal for inspiration to come through. I sometimes say to my clients that if they're stood in a specific spot and they're looking out over the horizon, they're only going to be able to see like the cluster of trees there and the township there. They think they can see the lay of the land, they think they can see the whole terrain. Now let's say that they take a few steps to the right or to the left and they see that, like, oh, hang on a minute, there's something over there, there's a building over there, or over there in the distance there's a body of water that you didn't see before. Sometimes it's just about moving yourself so that your perspective changes, and then you realise that you didn't have this 360 handle on the terrain. The terrain changes depending on where your position is. It's all a parallax. So I definitely would recommend, if you're stuck with your dream, if you feel like you're not making progress, if you feel fearful, change something up, do something different. Put a motivational playlist on. That's what I like to do a lot of the time. like to eye of the tiger myself back into action. Do not slow yourself down by people who are feeling intimidated by what you're trying to achieve. Don't slow yourself down for a person in your life who is not moving towards their dreams and might kind of be trying to encourage you to stop moving towards yours. If you know that there are relationships in your life which are making you pull over or making you go into the slow lane, and you feel like you really just want to tear up the motorway, you want to drag race it, you feel like you've got a lot of energy for this, don't let somebody else convince you to hold yourself back. Sometimes a person does not know that they're consciously doing this. It's not about directing malice towards them. It's not about thinking of them as a really malicious, bad influence on you. It's just about recognizing that sometimes we feel a duty to slow ourselves down to the pace that somebody else is moving at. And actually, a lot of the time, that's not a good thing. If you've got the energy for it and you want to move towards it, don't feel an obligation to move at the glacial pace of the person next to you. That person should be able to celebrate what you are doing whilst also focusing on quickening their own pace if that's what they want to do for themselves. It doesn't have to be this thing where you can only connect with somebody if you're both going at the same pace and doing things at the same time. I'm going to leave below a link to my last Housework Ramble, which was all about maintaining friendships where you are not necessarily supported or celebrated when you are winning. So if you haven't seen that and you want to delve more into thinking about what positive friendship really entails and how important it is that you have friends and loved ones in your life who really are supporting you when you're winning, go and watch that video, and I hope that also will be of service to you. Finally, since this is a self-development resource, I think it's probably appropriate to end on this note. Don't run around trying to collect all sorts of resources that are going to motivate you and inspire you and help you to build a strategy, and then drown in those resources and wallow in those resources and curl up with those resources and never actually do anything. It is absolutely possible that we can go in search of self-help as an escape valve, and we can end up surrounding ourselves with all of that self-help and personal development, and it can feel for quite a long time as though that is the thing that we're doing and that is the action that we're taking. But you've got to ask yourself what it's for, and if you're not actually applying it practically to the very thing that it's supposed to be for, then you are still in pause mode, you are still delayed, you are still pulled over onto the side of the road. You might be examining a few key resources that you feel are really going to help you get where you want to go, and that's amazing, but try having some kind of timeline for imbibing those resources and then taking action, utilising the tools that they've given to you in a practical way so you can move ahead with the very thing that you were using the resources for in the first place, the pursuit of a dream, you know? So really make sure that you're not using personal development as a way to just stay stuck. Lots of people find themselves in this trap, and I'm so glad that people talk about it a bit more now, because I think when self-help first came into this more mainstream consciousness and more people were picking up books for self-help and personal growth and dealing with specific issues, it was almost a little bit of an elephant in the room, and I don't think it was talked about as much as it is now. But now we're beginning to see that just because we're imbibing resources to help us does not mean we're using those resources to help us. So please make sure that any resources that you're using to the greatest extent possible are being practically applied. Let them accompany you on the journey forward rather than holding you ransom at the start line, basically, and that includes my resources. I want them to help you to get further and take action. I don't want them to be something that you escape into and then find that you're not actually using them to reach your dreams, to pursue your goals, to make those vital changes that are important to you. Honey bunnies, this has been Self-Love September. I have very much enjoyed imparting these thoughts and these musings. I hope they've helped. I can't wait to see you in October. I've got loads of amazing stuff lined up. So yeah, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what your favourite videos were from this year's SLS. Let me know what you think about pursuing your dreams. What have you learned? What kind of advice and tips can you give to others who might be perusing my comments section looking for some inspiration? I know that a lot of you have been on weird and wonderful, undulating, winding journeys, darling, and you've got all your own wisdom and advice that you can come to the proceedings with as well. So please feel free to drop some gems, darling, down in the comments, and I'll definitely be down there reading them. So much love and self-love. Blessed be.